How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is Monday, May 20th here in the great state of Wisconsin. They're talking about some weather over the next couple days. So, it's still fantastic, right? It's still fantastic. Lots of good stuff going on. We just got to be weather aware, they say, right? Weather aware. You never know what's going to be going on. But hey, we're going to get through it. Right? So, a good average weekend, I guess you could say, in Wisconsin sports. We did see the Brewers. That series we ran into the Houston Astros at a bad time, right? 2 weeks ago, if we would have ran in to the Houston Astros, I think that series would have been a lot different, right? Because this Astros team was scuffling. They were struggling to start this season here, and now they're starting to find their stride, right? We saw it in this series between Jake Myers, Kyle Tucker up there at the top, even guys like Jeremy Pena, Jose Altuve, and then the pitching staff for the Astros, Josh Hader being a big name in that. Josh Hader scuffling to start the year. Now he's slowly starting to figure it out too. So Brewers scuffle in this series. We're going to cover it. I want to look at all the games here, see kind of what was going on in each individual one, and talk about this Brewers team. Well, where they're at right now. We're getting close to being about a quarter, right? I don't even know where we're at right now. I'd have to look at their wins, losses right now. If we're not at a quarter, we're getting in the realm, right? We're getting in the realm of that quarter of the way into the season. And this Brewers team, they started out hot, and now it's like they have come back down, right? They've come back down and are just scuffling a little bit here on some occasions. So I want to look at this Brewers team as a whole then, look at the team stats, see where all that lies right now, see where they're in comparison to a lot of other teams right now. So getting into that Astros series right away. I want to look at the Astros series. I want to look at first the Friday night game. Now, the Friday night game, 5-4 was the finish. The Houston Astros got the win there. The Brewers in that one had the lead, 4-2. Got the lead there in that top of the fourth inning on a big 3-run home run by Joey Ortiz. And then in the bottom half of the fifth inning then. It came back in the fifth inning to bite them there. The Astros got it right back there on a Jeremy Pena 3-run home run. That would be the difference in that one. Lots of zeros put up in that game. You're looking between that second inning there. Brewers had it run in the top of the second. Astros bounce back with 2. Brewers get 3 in the top of the fourth. Astros come back with 3 in the fifth there. So that was the final in that one, 5-4. Astros out hit the Brewers 10-7 in that game there. Freddie Peralta took the loss for the Brewers. Hunter Brown got the win for the Astros in that one, and Hader got the save. So looking at this one, Bryce Terang, leadoff spot, 2 for 4. Solid night from Bryce Terang there. 306, he had his average up there on Friday. Contreras and Yelich, they scuffled this one. 0 for 3 from Contreras, 0 for 4 from Yelich. Adames goes 1 for 4. Bowers 1 for 2 with a home run there. And then Sanchez 0 for 3. Frelick 0 for 3. 3 for 4 for Joey Ortiz. That guy is on a burner right now. Joey Ortiz is. Jackson Churro 0 for 2. Blake Perkins 0 for 2 in this one. So, looking at the lineup for the Brewers, and, hitting was a premium in this game. The Brewers started out slow, and it's going to happen, right? You're going to have games where you start out slow and everything like that. The part that got to me was when we got to that ninth inning, and we saw Bryce Terang was coming up against Josh Hader. That was the leadoff spot was coming up there. And Pat Murphy elected to go with Owen Miller off the bench. Now, I get the matchups. I completely understand wanting to play matchups, righty versus lefty out there. I get that. 1,000% understand matchups when it comes to baseball and everything like that. When I looked at it, though, I looked at the guy in Bryce Terang, who is one of your hottest hitters. Guy's batting 306, right? He is the third best hitter on your team right now, average-wise. That leadoff spot has been nothing but good to Bryce Terang. He's had constant games of multi-hit games, right? So, I get, like I said, matchups to matchups, right? But if you're talking down the road here, where this game probably will matter down the stretch, right? But you're getting to a do or die game, right? Are you going to trust Bryce Terang hitting his? I mean, the season's going to wear on the dog days of summer, right? And Bryce Terang might slow down a little bit there. And that it might happen, right? Hey, we're hoping not, right? As Brewer fans, we're hoping not, but it's a potential that it does happen. Now, if he does stay at this clip, right? He's hitting around 300. Late in the season, are you going to go matchup, right? Are you going to try to play the matchups? If you do, and you go against a guy like Josh Hader, bringing in a guy like Owen Miller off the bench who hasn't played in a couple days, and his first at-bat is against Josh Hader, who is now feeling it, right? Josh Hader has been playing a lot better as of late, or pitching a lot better as of late. So, to me, I looked at it as a goofy move. I did. I looked at it as a move that didn't need to be made, that you could have stuck with Bryce Terang. And, I mean, relatively got the same outcome, right? Strikeout there for Owen Miller. But you could have gotten the same outcome with Bryce Terang. But you got to be able to, if Bryce Terang's one of your better hitters in your lineup, you got to be able to trust him, righties, lefties, no matter who it is, right? You got to be able to trust this guy. It's the same with Yelich. It's the same with Contreras. Whoever it is, you're going to have to trust them guys that when they face righties, lefties, whatever it is, that they can get you hits. Your better hitters in your lineup. Bryce Terang is one of your better hitters in your lineup. You got to trust him to be able to do it, right? In your leadoff spot. That's your guy. That is one of the most consistent bats the Brewers have had this season here to start, right? So pulling him out of that game, I thought I did not like the move. I am not saying that Pat Murphy's a terrible manager. I'm not saying that, I don't understand the move that he tried to make. What I'm saying is that in that spot, with the guys that were coming up, Bryce Terang, I felt like was a better option over Owen Miller. Now, if Owen Miller had been playing, if he had consistent at-bats and he wasn't coming in there cold and now he's facing a guy like Josh Hader, give it to him, right? But this is a guy in Owen Miller who has had inconsistent at-bats, went up at the big league level. Now, you can pray, right? You can give that, I hope, shot there, right? But we saw this before, right? Jesse Winker in the playoffs last year, multiple times. We brought in Jesse Winker to pinch hit, hoping for a spark, right? Hoping for a little flicker of light in the bottle, right? And didn't end well. I'm not saying that this is the same scenario, but what I'm saying is that there's moments and times where bringing in certain guys off the bench to pinch hit is a beneficial thing, and it's not. And I don't think this moment was a beneficial thing for the Brewers there. So that's the biggest, question mark I had in that game was the Bryce Terang being pinch hit by Owen Miller. Looking at the Brewers pitching staff, actually, before I get there, I wanted to mention the runners in scoring position in that game. 1 for 8, the Brewers were. 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. That's bad. Frelick was the main cog in that nonsense, right? He had 2 times where he left runners in scoring position there with 2 outs. Frelick had 2 times and Yelich had once. So that's a big kicker to you right there. That's a kick in the gym bag, right? That's a big kick in the gym bag. We watched it last year. The biggest thing that when you watched last season against the Arizona Diamondbacks, runners in scoring position, runners on base, trying to advance guys on base. That was the biggest thing last year that killed the Brewers in the postseason against the Diamondbacks. That's the same thing that we're seeing at times this year, is the lack of the ability of the Brewers to put the ball in play and to drive runners in when they're in scoring position. So it's not something to freak out about, right? You can, right? You can say that this is the Brewers of old and it's not going to get better and everything like that. But realistically looking at it, a lot of season left. You move on from it. It's just something that I'm seeing right now as a trend for the Brewers here over this past little bit, is the ability to drive in runs and runners in scoring position. So that's kind of just what I'm seeing right now there. Looking at the Brewers pitching in this one, we saw Freddie Peralta, 5 innings, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, 2 home runs given up. Freddie Peralta had a rough one. It was a rough one. A couple of leaving pitches over the plate there for Freddie in this one. Jake Myers, Jake Myers got hot the minute the Brewers stepped off the bus Jake Myers was like, I am just going to go off this weekend, because Jake Myers had a fantastic weekend there for the Astros. Looking at the matchup between Freddie Peralta and Pena there, I mean, Freddie was working corners. He was getting what he wanted, and then left, he left a slider just a little bit up, hung a little bit up on Jeremy Pena, and that was the moneymaker, right? Pena's been hitting very well this season. I mean, you're talking about a guy, I believe he's above 300 yet, Jeremy Pena. Like, this is World Series season that we saw Jeremy Pena kind of break onto the scene. We're starting to see a little bit more of that again coming with Jeremy Pena. So, like I said earlier, I mean, the Brewers ran into the Astros at a very bad time, because this team was scuffling to start. Now they're starting to find it here in the, still early parts of the season. And, you look at the Jake Myers at bat, like I was just talking with Pena, the pitch that Myers was able to hit out, another slider by Freddie. This one he left upper part of the zone there, right in tight against Myers, and Myers able to hit it out there. I mean, you throw 79 a little bit inside, leave it hang, right? It's a bad combo. And that's what we saw there. Jake Myers, both home runs came off of hanging sliders, right? So that's something where Freddie, he knows that, right? We could talk about it night in, night out. He knows that. He knows he's got to be better with delivering. He knows he's got to be better with the location. And, especially with that slider, you got to hammer that thing outer half, right? You got to keep it out of the middle of the plate. Middle of the plate, middle in, right? That's bad news. That's bad news when you leave it hanging there. So that led to the 2 home runs there by the Astros in that one. Looking at that Saturday game then, Brewers get the win in that one, 4-2. They beat Verlander in that game there. Hobie Milner ended up with the win, and McGill had to save for the Brewers in that one. Looking at the lineup, Turang 1 for 4 in that game. Contreras 1 for 4. A big 3-run home run. Got to be one of the most impressive at-bats I've seen in a very long time. It made me think of Jesus Aguilar against was it against the Marlins? I believe that one was against the Marlins that he hit that walk-off. It was, I believe, a walk-off home run there. And it just made me think of that moment when we saw Contreras. Now, it wasn't like it was a walk-off, in his own right there for Contreras against Verlander, right? But it was still that epic 13-pitch at bat. I believe it was against the Marlins. I'm trying to pull it up here real quick. It was against the Marlins there. Jesus Aguilar had a 13-pitch at bat that he hit a walk-off home run. Kind of gave me the same vibes, right? It's not different circumstances, right? But in different pitching on the mound there, Verlander being future Hall of Fame kind of guy, right? But just that same impressive mentality to be able to end a 13-pitch at bat with a home run, right? And then to listen to him after that and, just saying, I was just fouling off pitches, trying to find mine, right? And, he found his, left it up, Verlander did, and William Contreras took it to one of the deepest parts of that ballpark. So that was impressive in its own right there. So Contreras 1 for 4 with those 3 RBIs. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was his only hit of the weekend. Was that 3-run home run there. So Contreras starts to cool off a little bit there over the weekend. But, it happens. You're going to have bad series, right? He's going to bounce back here against the Marlins. So we see Contreras do that there. Yelich, he goes 0 for 3. Adames 0 for 4. Bauers 0 for 4. 1 for 4 for Ortiz. Dude continues to hit. It's unreal what he's doing. Frelick 0 for 3 in that game. Churro goes 2 for 3. And then we saw Blake Perkins. I'm glad to see Blake Perkins just getting some hits, right? He started out so well to start this year, and it was fantastic. He was hitting around that 290 clip. The guy was battling. He was getting on base for you. He was doing the little things. And then the bat kind of got quiet, and it was like, just a hit. All those little tinkers down the third base line where he's busting up the line and it would go foul. It's like, just stay fair. Just stay fair. Give this guy a hit, right? Just break him out of the cold spell. Over this last weekend, got a couple hits, right? So good stuff there out of Perkins. Brewers in this one, only 6 hits in total, right? 6 hits in total there. Verlander pitched a pretty good game against the Brewers. Just that one pitch to William Contreras that he sent out that was the big difference in this one. Astros got a run in the third and a run in the 5th inning in that one there. Bryce Wilson, 4 2/3 inning, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. He gave up a home run in that appearance there. Not great, right? Not great out of Wilson, but a solid outing out of Bryce Wilson there. Looking at Milner in there, an inning and a third, 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Solid day out of Milner. Paguero came in then for an inning and a strikeout. Brian Hudson, he just continues to be the man in this Brewers bullpen out there. An inning, 1 hit, 1 walk, and a strikeout for him. That ERA is down to .71. Between you have your dynamite guys in your bullpen right now, right? Your guys who aren't giving up runs, and this would be the surprising part, is Brian Hudson, Hobie Milner, and Trevor McGill, right? Those are the 3 guys with those ERAs sitting below. You got Hobie Milner at 1.66, you got McGill at 1.54, and then you have Hudson at .71. So you just see, you went into this year thinking Paguero, Payamps, Uribe, and, Devin Williams at one point. McGill, Hudson wasn't even a thought. And then Milner weren't your thoughts to be your back into the bullpen, we're going to shut this game down kind of guys. Right now, they are your guys. Paguero's pitching fine, right? He's not pitching bad. 3.15 ERA. Not great, not bad. But, it's just crazy to see, some of these other guys who are sparking up there in that Brewers bullpen. So good stuff there out of those 3 guys. Brewers in this one, 1 for 6 again with runners in scoring position. Left 4 guys on base. Adames, Contreras, both had a couple of times there that they left guys on base there. So some of your big bats leaving guys in scoring position, not great. Not great, but like I said, you're going to have series where you go a little bit cold, right? So we're going to see a bounce back out of these guys. Just a rough series. You look at Adames and you look at Contreras in this series here, and even Yelich, right? Rough series for these guys, but you're going to bounce back here against the Marlins, right? You got it. You're going to bounce back against the Marlins there. So Brewers get the win 4-2 on Saturday there. Looking at the Sunday game then, the rubber match, right? We're going for the series win. Well, it was kind of short-lived. 1-0 the Brewers started out this thing. Turang gets on, Yelich hits him in. It's just a great start to another ball game for the Brewers, and, then came the bottom of the first. Colin Ray got roughed up in this one. Colin Ray got roughed up in the first inning in this game here, and Houston tacks on 4 runs, 4-1 lead. They're heading further on. And then you look at the Astros. They had 1 in the 5th, 1 in the 6th, 3 in the bottom of the 7th. After the Brewers did answer, Brewers had a 3-run 7th inning, top of the 7th, that made this thing 6-4 at one point, right? It was 6-4. And you're heading to that bottom of the 7th. At that point, I'm bringing in somebody. They brought in Vieira, came in after Ray, right? And then you bring in Mitch White. And I talked about Mitch White, and I said he could be a solid piece in the bullpen, but he's not an answer, right? You're looking for answers. You're looking for guys to give you shutdown innings. He's not that guy. He's not that. He could be a solid, long relief. You got to have those guys where you're getting blown out or you're blowing a team out that he can come in and pitch. That's your Mitch White. That's your Vieira. Right? When this thing was 6-4, that's when I want to see some of the other guys in this bullpen. The bigger name guys, right? The Hobie Milners, the Hudsons, whatever it is. Now, if they were getting rest today and that's why we saw this combo, okay. But, 6-4 game, the momentum is now in your favor, right? Baseball is a big momentum game, right? The momentum is now in your favor heading into that bottom of the 7th. You just got to get through it, get the bats back up in the top of the 8th, and you give up a 3-run bomb. Now it's 9-4 again. Now that comeback that seemed realistic is out the door again, right? So, you can't fault for wanting to just get some inning eaters out there, right? And just get through it, and hopefully then the offense can come back, do their magic, and then, we could bring in McGill to close it down. But at the same time, you're hoping a lot. There's a lot of hoping going on that these guys can figure it out in those spots. So looking at the Brewers, though, hitting-wise in this game, Bryce Terang, 3 for 5 in this game here, stays hot in the leadoff spot, 2 RBIs, gets that average up to 314 at the end of this series here. Contreras 0 for 5 in this game, 341 average to end the series. Yelich 2 for 4 in this game. This was a good game for Yelich here. 2 RBIs, had that RBI late in that 7th inning that brought in a run. Also that RBI early that brought in a run for the Brewers there. Ends this series with that 333 average there. Adames 0 for 4. Adames has a rough weekend. A rough weekend, just missed a home run. Right, he hit to the deepest part of the park in that one after Yelich did single. We're talking about a different outcome, if he gets pulls it a little bit more, whatever it was, right? So that sucked. In its own right there. Bauer's 0 for 4. Joey Ortiz 1 for 4 in this game here. Ends the series with that 292 average. Great stuff out of Joey. Frelick gets a hit in this one, 1 for 2 at that 250 average, 2 walks in this game. Getting on base. That's what you love to see out of Sal Frelick. Sometimes it's like a struggle for him to get the bat off the shoulder. I don't know what it is, if he's just praying for a walk at times, right? If his eyes just aren't as good as what they were when we first saw him when he was coming up, because it just seems like he's praying for a walk every time he goes up. Jackson Churro 1 for 4 in this game, and Blake Perkins 2 for 4. Hopefully see Blake Perkins start to get a little bit hot here moving on. That would be great for the Brewers there. Glad to see Jackson Churro too. I mean, Jackson Churro in this series had a couple of hits in multiple games. That's good stuff. I mean, you want to see Jackson Churro start to pick it up a little bit, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now coming out of this Astros series. So good stuff there out of Churro and the rest of the offense there in this one. I mean, just looking at the runners in scoring position, once again, 4 for 10. 4 for 10, 7 guys left on base in this one. And again, it was Adames, Contreras, some of your bigger guys, your bigger bats, leaving guys on and leaving guys in scoring position in this one. So that's something definitely the Brewers need to hone in on and take care of here moving forward, especially heading into a couple of a week or two of some pretty good opponents. The Brewers are going to be facing outside of the Marlins. I mean, the Red Sox, very solid team. And then you're going to have the likes of the Cubs and then the White Sox. But then you have the Phillies and the Tigers, followed by Toronto and the Reds. So, I mean, you have some pretty good teams that you're going to be squaring off with here coming up here in the upcoming weeks. You got to see this Brewers team start to be able to capitalize with runners in scoring position. So, Brewers, they dropped the weekend series to the Astros. But, hey, there's lots more I want to get into here with the Brewers. I want to get into some stats with this Brewers team and see where they kind of sit right now after that weekend series. But before I get there, I want to mention some sponsors of the show here quick. First, Game Day Supply on Alaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply on Alaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy, Sue, or Anna to find your dream home or if you're looking to sell. Find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield. Also, Marshfield Motor Speedway is located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. You got to get down there this summer here. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. And there's not much more you can ask for, right? Plan a day down there at the track. Find the schedule online or on Facebook. Just search Marshfield Motor Speedways. Otherwise, go to my Facebook page, Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I shared the schedule on there. You can find it. You can plan a great day down there at the track. Sports scene in Marshfield there. Sports scene, they have everything you need from sporting cards to memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars, whatever you're looking for. They got it down there at Sports Scene in Marshfield, located in the Marshfield Mall. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured recently, whether at work, whether it was on the basketball court, the baseball field, the softball field, whatever it was, and you need some physical therapy, stop down there at Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin, and see Chad. He will get you right. He'll get you back to work, back on the court, back on the field, whatever it is. He'll get you back there. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. And Pittsville Farm and Home Center, the greenhouse is open and the flowers are blooming. You got to get down there. You got to get yourself everything you need. Hanging basket stuff. You need flowers for the garden bed. You need vegetables for in that vegetable garden, you got to get yourself down to Pittsfield Farm and Home Center. They got great deals down there. You got to get down there and get some good stuff down there. Tell them Trage sent you. Tell them Trage sent you. Find Alan down there. Tell him Trage sent you. Maybe he'll work with you for a deal, right? Maybe he'll work with you for a deal. And if he doesn't, you tell me and I'll call him, right? I'll call him down there. We'll get you a deal down there. So good stuff there. Pittsfield Farm and Home Center in Pittsfield, Wisconsin. But with that, I want to get into the Brewers stats here a little bit. I just wanted to look over where the Brewers are kind of sitting compared to the rest of the league right now. And stat-wise, I mean, what we're seeing with this Brewers team at the moment, good and bad, right? You can't sugarcoat it. There's good and bad in all aspects. So right now, the Brewers, you look at them, runs scored in the NL, or in their team rank right now in runs scored, they are third in runs scored. Hits, they're ranked fifth. Triples, they're ranked eighth right now. Home runs, fourth. RBIs, third. Walks, sixth. Hit by pitches, ninth. I mean, that's an impressive stat in its own right, I guess. Stolen bases, third. Average, they're ranked fourth. On base percentage, fourth. And slugging percentage, fourth right now. So, I mean, you look at those stats there, and they all look fine and dandy. The only thing that sticks out to me for not being great right now is those 415 strikeouts. They're sitting 20th in the league in strikeouts right now. Some of your bigger, I mean, Contreras, you can't really yell at Contreras. It seems like it's a strikeout or a hit, right? He's got 40 strikeouts, but that's a lot of games, too. A lot of at-bats, 182 at-bats there with 40 strikeouts. It's hard to complain too much. It's hard to complain too much about that. And then you got Adames there with 40. Sal's got 36. I mean, not great stuff there with Sal. Bryce Terang with 24. The guy's seen the baseball very well. And then Jackson Churro with 41, along with Blake Perkins with 41 there. I mean, you look at the strikeout numbers, and yes, they're high, but, you got to look at averages then, too. Like Bryce Terang, 24 strikeouts, 314 average. He's also drawn, looks like 13 walks. 13 walks compared to them 24 strikeouts. So not terrible there with that strikeout ratio. Contreras seems like he's getting a hit or he's striking out, right? I mean, 23 walks to 40 strikeouts, but got that 341 average that he's carrying right now. So, I mean, looking at that, it's like, you'll take it and leave it with that one there. And then you talk about a guy like Yelich with 19 strikeouts on the year and 16 RBIs, 8 walks. So 8 walks to those 19 strikeouts with a 333 average. He's only got them 75 at-bats, so a little bit different there for him, right? You're talking about limited at-bats so far, thanks to that injury that he had early on. But, I mean, stat-wise for the Brewers all the way around, right? Offensively, not bad, but a lot of that has to do with, you look at the May stats, right? And I was just pulling up the splits here to see how it was all sitting. You look at the April stats there. 26 games in April, 136 runs, 228 hits, 41 doubles, 34 home runs, 128 RBIs, right? So this team was chugging right along in the month of April there, and everything was flowing. They had that 254 average right there. 32 stolen bases across the entire month of April. This team was firing on all cylinders, right? 102 walks. And now you look at the month of May. Now, only 16 games in the month of May so far, right? 10 games, below what the April stat says there. But you look at the month of May right now, where they're on pace for. 81 runs scored so far compared to what we saw in April of 136. You look at the hits, 138 hits in the month of May compared to 228 in April there. And then you just look down the line there at the different stats that you see. You can look at the walks. 52 walks in the month of May compared to 102 in the month of April there. So to see the offense, you look at strikeouts, those strikeouts are down, right? 236 strikeouts in the month of April compared to 142 in that month of May there. So the strikeout numbers are going down, but you look at the rest of the stats, and the rest of the stats are starting to go down. Stolen bases, they're down 12 stolen bases compared where they were, or where it sat last month there. Now, do they have 10 games to recoup that? Yeah. I don't know how many more how many more games they have in the month of May. I can check that out. I mean, they have 6, 9, 10, 11, so they have 11 games left, so they're going to end with 27. But I'm just looking, comparison right now, where those two stat lines kind of sat compared. And I mean, you're looking at hits, just the difference in hits, 228 to 138, 90 hits, or whatever it is. And yeah, 90 hits that they're going to have to accumulate there to get up to where they were at total-wise the month before. It's kind of, it's an interesting stat to see kind of where they were sitting last month. Yeah, like I said, more games, but where they were sitting last month there compared to what we're seeing so far this month here. You look at the games, I mean, home and the road games, right? You think that you hit better at home, right? I mean, they've played 3 more road games in this season. 3 more road games. They have 21 games at home, 24 games on the road so far. In home games, they have 180 hits, 110 runs scored. They have 34 doubles, 29 home runs, 108 RBIs. They have 80 stolen bases and 192 strikeouts. 259 average. Looking at road games so far, 121 runs scored, 218 hits, 39 doubles, 3 triples, 29 home runs, so that balances yourself out there. And then you look at the RBI totals, 111 RBIs, 84 walks, and, looking at strikeouts, 215 strikeouts, a 256 average. So you kind of just look at the difference there between home and road splits, too. You're looking at the hits. I mean, just seeing that they're hitting, technically, they got more hits on the road, less at bats, or they have less at bats at home than they do on the road there. But they have a boatload more hits there on the road. So a little bit of a home struggle for the Brewers to start out this young season here. So just an interesting, I was just looking through the stats there. And, division-wise, I can just see all these, interesting stats that they have pulled up here. Looking at division-wise for these teams and seeing, who they've played well against, who they've struggled against. AL East, Brewers are fine. 278 average against the AL East so far, 52 RBIs, 14 home runs, played great stuff. Because you look at the Baltimore Orioles series, a 344 average in that Orioles series, 22 RBIs, 7 home runs, had a couple of explosive outings. But then you look down the line here, the Cubs series so far, 204 average for them in those 3 games. That was a big struggle against starting pitching that the Cubs are throwing at them. The Mets, 294 there. Cincinnati Reds, 277. Yankees, 239. 263 against the Pirates. 270 against the Mariners. I mean, just to see the interesting flip the script stat lines that we're seeing so far between, the Brewers against what division that they're playing there, what starting pitching caliber that they're seeing, but the home and road ones, those were pretty interesting, if you ask me, to see kind of where they were sitting there, and then month by month stat. You can find all these. I mean, if you're really interested to see all the stats and where they lie, you can find them all online. Just search, Brewers stats, overall stats, and you can find them relatively easy there. So, I mean, Brewers, they dropped the series to the Astros. They have an upcoming series here now with the Miami Marlins, and this is going to be they're on the road trip right now. This is one of their longest road trips of the season, if not the longest. I believe this could be the longest road trip. Yeah, it is. It is the longest road trip they're going to have all season here. Houston to Miami, and then back up to Boston before coming back to American Family Field there right away and facing off with the Cubs. So you have the Marlins coming up. This is a Marlins team who... not a great start to the year for the Marlins, right? 15-33 overall on the season. Nothing great. They're not playing great baseball. Offense has scuffled a little bit for the Marlins here to start out the year. They did, I was just going to check out what they've done here in the last 10. They're 5-5 in the last 10. Looking at the run differential for them right now, negative 82, so they're giving up a boatload of runs right now, are the Marlins. Just looking at the pitching for them there. We're going to face Weathers in that first game there. We're going to face off with Ryan Weathers. He's 2-4 with a 3.81 ERA, 49 innings pitched there, and 38 strikeouts. Not a great start to the year for Weathers. looking at, his last outing there, though, against the Detroit Tigers, he did go 8 innings, 3 hits, 4 strikeouts. Before that Dodgers game, they scored 3 up against him there, and then the Oakland A's had 3 against him. So he's had a decent start, right, in his last outing there against this Tigers team. Let's just hope we're not running into another guy who's starting to heat up here, right? Because we saw that with the Astros. Let's hope we don't see that here with the Marlins, that they figure something out against the Brewers. But, Brewers heading into this matchup, we're going to see Joe Ross. Joe Ross, 2-4, 4.61 ERA and 41 innings, 35 strikeouts for Joe there. Looking at his last outing, he had a win in that one, 5 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and a walk against the Pirates there. So, we need a little bit more of that magic, right? Not magic, but a little bit more of that against this Marlins team, and the Brewers should be just fine, right? You're facing a team with a struggling bullpen, a struggling lineup. You got to be able to find a way to pull off this series against the Marlins. You got it. It's not like it's a do or die. It's not a do or die series for the Brewers against the Marlins, but then again, it's a series that the Brewers, they got to bounce back, right? After losing that series to the Astros like you did, you got to find a way to bounce back here against this Marlins team. Looking at the lineup for the Marlins, and you're looking down there, Chisholm, he's 254 on the year so far. De La Cruz, 260, 229 out of Bell. Jake Burgers hit 171. Lopez is hitting 300 for him there. Myers for him, he's hitting 269, and Brujan is hitting 266. So, not a ton of success out of this Marlins team hitting. There's not a lot of success across the board for this team. This is a series that the Brewers have to go in. They just have to mop the floors, and then they just have to walk out, right? You got to mop the floors, walk out, get your off day on Thursday before you face the Boston Red Sox, and then you got to go. You have to go again on the road to the Red Sox. Then you have to face the Cubs right after that. So you got to get right here. Miami and then Boston. You got to get right in these 2 series and then bounce back and get that Cubs series there back at home. You got to be able to win that series against the Cubs. A 4-game set would be great to see the Brewers get hot and pull off a week or 2 weeks of great baseball here before you end up with the White Sox and then the Phillies. That is the hottest team in baseball right now, is the Philadelphia Phillies. And if you go into that series slumping, what the Astros did to you will look like baby talk. It'll look like baby business right there, right? Baby business. So, Brewers, that's going to be a matchup tonight here against the Marlins. That'll be a 5:40 start for that game from the Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. That'll be on Bally Sports Wisconsin, and on Fox. It'll be on WTMJ 620 Brewers Radio Network there for them. Wherever you get the Brewers, you can find them there. Should be, I would assume, still Lane and Joe Mauer, because I don't think that Brian Anderson is coming back until Memorial Day weekend. He will be back in the broadcast booth for the Brewers. So you won't be able to hear Brian on the TV until then. That would push Jeff back to the radio there. So Lane Grindle and Mauer on the radio. Nothing better than those 2 guys. Outside of that, Tim Dillard and Jeff Levering on the TV there. So good stuff all the way around. Lots of Brewers talk today, right? Lots of Brewers talk. Tomorrow, I want to get Brewers, but I want to talk a little bit of NFC North. I want to get through the schedules. I want to talk about where we're seeing, prediction-wise, where we're seeing some of these teams falling. And, by then, I might hear something crazy that a Bears fan says, all right? I might hear something crazy that a Bears fan says. They say it all the time, right? They're going wild right now because Caleb Williams is the man. He's the man in Chicago right now, and they are on their high horse. So we're going to be talking about the NFC North tomorrow. We're going to be talking about the Brewers. We're going to see where the day takes us tomorrow. There's lots to talk about. Lots to talk about tomorrow, so make sure you're here for it. But with that, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray. hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.